Hello, and we are back. So, this is going to be about percents. It's going to be about the percent change, percent increase and decrease, and it's going to be about simple interest. And I think that's so to be a small little lesson, and we're going to start with percents. So, first of all, before we move on, we have to understand how to go from a percent to a fraction and percent to decimal, because these might be some of the things that you may need to know for the percent problems. 25% to a fraction. It's 25% of 100, so it's 25 hundredths. Normally I just tell you to go ahead and change it to a decimal and then read it, write it, and reduce it. And so that's what we did. We read it, 25 hundredths, we wrote it, 25 hundredths, and we reduced it. And we reduced it by dividing 25 into each part of that fraction to get to 1/4. Then percent to decimal. Well, you saw that I went from percent to decimal here, and how I did that is I just moved the decimal place 2 places to the left. I wrote my 0, and then it's 25 hundredths. So, any percent problem that we're going to do is going to be 3 elements, right? And then it's going to be the base, the part, and the rate. And I'm going to show you a little bit about that. So, percent formula. Part over base equals percent over 100. Or, the easiest way to remember it is over of equals percent over 100. And you're going to find out in a minute. What is 20% of 25? And you just break it down in little pieces. And this is your is, and we don't know what that is, right? Because it says what is, that's the question. 20%, that's your percent. And then of, that would be your of part of this formula, right? Is over of. What's my is? We can call it x for the unknown because we don't know. And then we can say of 25 equals 20 over 100. And I get a lot of questions about, will that always be 100? Yes, that never changes. This 100 never changes. The only things that will change in the sentence is the is, of, and the rate. Okay? All right, so we're going to cross multiply 25 times 20, and we're going to divide by 100. And then you would get your handy dandy calculator out. Give me 1 second. Since I don't know that at the top of my head, I'm going to tell you what it is. 25 times 20 is going to be 25 times 20 is going to be 500. Divide by 100. And then in this case, powers of 10, you have zeros up to the top and zeros. They cancel out one another. You don't really have to like divide that. You just do 5 over 1 and you're going to get 5. So 5 is the answer there. That x equals 5. We're going to do a few more. Next page. So what percent is 18 out of 600? And I have an or there because you're going to do it this way with the formula, and then we're going to do it a little bit more simpler with the calculator. So let's see what we have. What percent? So that's the part we don't know. So we'll put that over 100. And then 18 out of is 18 out of 600. And you do 18 over 600. And then cross multiply the 2 numbers you do have. And then divide by the 1 number that's left. That's what I always tell them. Don't make it too complicated, of course. Seems to be my motto through all these videos. And then you would get 1800 over 600. And again, those zeros cancel out one another. So you would just be left with 18 over 6. And 18 divided by 6 is 3. And it's percent that they want. So you're going to write in or look for the answer that has a percent. Now the calculator wise, you really can skip the whole formula thing if you remember this part. It's a part of a whole, and they need to know the percentage of that. So you would do 18 divide by 600 and then hit the equal button, right? And I'm going to do it with you. 18 divided by 600, and it's going to be 0.03. And you say, well, Miss, that's a decimal. Well, yes, it is. But now we know at this point how to make a decimal into a percent. And we do that by moving that decimal place 2 to the right and rewriting it as a 3 and putting in that percent. So whichever way is easier and you remember, you choose. But the formula is always the best to remember because it's an easy formula to remember. But if you remember 18 out of 600 is going to be using your calculator by dividing, then you do it that way. All right, so the next problem. Again, I gave another one. 190 is 95% of what number? So now we're looking for the of, right? Because this is the is. This is your percent. And this is your of. And this would be where you wouldn't know what it is. You put the question mark or the x. And so you would do 190 over x equals 95 over 100. Again, cross multiply and divide. So you would have 190 times 100 and then divide by 95. And that answer would be 200. So 190 is 95% of 200. Not too bad. Not too shabby. And so I need you to stop this video, pause it, and then work on these problems. Give yourself 5 minutes to do them, and then unpause it and see if you did them right. In the meantime, I'm going to walk through the steps of it. But I really want you to pause it and see if you understand everything that we just discussed prior to this. And if not, then you go back and rewind it because this is a video and you can do that on the YouTube channel. So, and make sure you take notes. I know a couple students have texted me and told me they've been watching the videos, they've been taking the notes, and that is awesome, great news. You know, if this helps half a dozen of you, then I feel as though this is necessary to do in these times at the moment. So, so we're going to look at this. So again, pause, stop, and then do these, and then come back. So now you're back, right? You're back, and hopefully you've figured them out. And let's see if you had them right. And I'm going to probably just do them real quick. So I have this. And I'll walk through the steps, and I'm going to go this way through them since I put 3 on the board, and I write quite big. And that's just going to be... I don't know why I wrote that. That's not 100. Did you see that mistake I made? It's supposed to be a 14, not 100. Silly, Miss Sonia. Sometimes that happens. I'm trying to work it through, not paying attention. And then that should be your answer. If I did all the steps right, then that would be your final answer. So $13.44 is 14% of $96 because it's in money. So that would be the answer for that, okay? Then the next one is 36 is what percent of 144? Now, again, you could do it one of 2 ways. If you wanted to do 36 divided by 144, which I believe is the easiest, then you just convert that to 25%, right? And then if you wanted to do it with the is over the of the percent, and then you would do 36 over 144 equals x over 100. It's 3600 over 144, and I believe you would get 25. And boom. Okay? And then we have what number is 87.5% of 16? And then we would do x over 16 equals 0.5 over 100. And then we would cross multiply. All of them I am cross multiplying with the two numbers I have, and then I'm dividing by the one number that's left, okay? So I would do 87.5 times 16, and I would divide by 100. And then 1400 divide by 100. Again, I have those zeros, and those zeros cancel out one another. And then I would just have 14. Alright, so that is how you do those. Hopefully you got them right. If you have any questions, you can always email me. Ask when you get to class if you happen to be in class. But emailing is probably the best way, or texting if you know my number. Alright, so this is simple interest. We're going to cut this video and we're going to re-record when we get to here, okay? Thank you.